As Coastmaster newbie 2 years ago, CW made a brief presentation about a remarkable humanitarian program called Loving Hugs. Founded and run by one woman 6 years ago, Loving Hugs has amazingly befriended just about everyone to successfully comfort the most devastated kids in 44 countries. The program has also boosted the image and reputation of the United States. It has flourished, but the founder pays for much of its expenses out of pocket. Now, this most deserving program desperately needs funding to continue, or it will close down soon. At a college in 2 weeks, CW will show a 45-minute program to enlighten the worldwide good our military is doing and to suggest financial support for the program. Today, he will give an unabridged 12-minute presentation so that Leonard and you can critique him and give him suggestions for how he might do it best. So now we welcome CW.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. And this fits in perfectly today for the Memorial Day. It's military, and my family on my wife's side is quite military, and so it just dovetailed very well. I'm going to go pretty quickly through this because it's going to be a 45-minute program, as I said, at my wife's college. And I'm going to do it in 12 minutes, so I'm going to rush through it. But I met this woman 2 years ago, and I was absolutely bowled over. I just couldn't believe what she had done, and I better stay out of there. I couldn't believe what she had done. She seemed to have befriended the entire world, military, humanitarian groups within countries, clubs, organizations, churches, schools. She does it from one little room in Colorado. She's actually from here. She went to Danny Hills High School. But she's in Colorado now, got married, was there, and so forth. Now, I asked her, because I had just retired, could I please talk about what you do? Because people need to know about it. And that's why I joined Toastmasters, so I could become a better speaker. And if you remember the way I was 2 years ago, you'll know that I made a little bit of progress, hopefully so. The way her program began was where she saw a letter from an officer in the Army that described bomb blasts in Iraq. And it wasn't pretty. Bomb blasts every day in a marketplace that killed kids, killed adults, killed everybody, and then the kids that survived were in bad shape. And she thought, as firemen and policemen in this country carry stuffed animals in their cars to comfort kids that are going through trauma, especially if their parents have been killed in the blast, if they could wrap their arms around these, it would really, really help. But she didn't even have a stuffed animal of her own. Now this is what astounds me, because I can't even imagine how I would do this. She began to have stuffed animal drives. She calls them hug drives with churches and scouts and everybody. Well, let's get going on this, and I'll show you how it has evolved. This is Wendy. This is the only time she's been able to get out of that little room where she sends stuffed animals that are sent to her from the hug drives to a cleaning establishment, Heritage Cleaners, that cleans them for free, so that every child that has nothing or next to nothing gets a brand new or a perfectly reconditioned stuffed animal. It's like a portion of them. They'll keep it all their lives. They may get food, they may get some clothing or something, and that's important. But the food is gone in a couple of days, but that stuffed animal will stay with them all their lives. So here she is in Guatemala, the only time she was able to really get with the kids that receive the stuffed animals. And when they get them, they get an actual physical hug. Moving along quickly now, here's an example of the drives. They are very successful. Churches, schools, clubs, neighborhoods, they conduct these. Hundreds of them. And here's a girl whose teacher said, you cannot do this But she went and worked after school instead, and what she did was spent her own money that she'd earned and bought 542 stuffed animals. This is Wendy in the back there in black, and this is a room. She works out of wherever she can be, in a shopping center or something, if it's empty. And she'll have volunteers come in, nobody's paid, so nobody sticks around really for too long a time, and she has to leave because there's going to be a new business that comes in, and they're going to take that space. So it's a real nuisance factor to be moving all the time, but worse, when churches and clubs and groups and whatever send these things to her, if she's not there anymore, FedEx and UPS, they don't reroute things like the post office does. They send them back to the center. It's really a problem. So these are volunteers. They're great. When they're there, they're clipping off tags that say made in China so that the kids don't think that the Chinese are giving them to them. And then they will be sent to San Diego, to the Navy, or to the East Coast, to the Air Force, where they will be packed and they'll be put on ships like this. This is the Iwo Jima, an aircraft carrier, and her stuffed animals are really on a lot of ships around the world right now. President Kennedy started this program in 1963. It was called Project Handclasp, so that we would be seen as more than international policemen, occupiers, or whatever we're called. It's to make friends and to get things to desperate people in a time of trouble. Now, this next slide shows this slide shows a swift boat. They're new, they're fast, and they get to where there's a problem. And there are problems all over the world all the time. And we are really not getting a lot of credit for the good that we do. This is not put on television or in the newspapers or anything. It should be to give balance. And these swift boats, they bring the stuffed animals, sometimes some food and clothing and so forth. Kennedy passed this, but it was never funded until Wendy came along 6 years ago and provided the stuffed animals for this. This is Haiti. Now, Wendy believes in prayer, and it seems to work for her, or maybe she's just lucky. The stuffed animals arrived in Haiti the day before the earthquake, the day before. That's amazing. And these are the Marines, Special Forces, the toughest of the tough, and here they are passing out stuffed animals and giving hugs. Notice the man in the background there that is recording this, and hopefully some people see the good that our military is doing. Now they get medical attention, no charge. Gentlemen on the left there is Coast Guard. Wendy works with all branches of the military, all of them, all churches, all of them, all kinds of schools, everybody. She sees one mankind, universal mankind, in this world. The stuffed animals even come in by airplane and even helicopter. Now here is a captain of a ship giving a hug. She calls her stuffed animals hugs. And the little girl will get an actual physical hug. You notice that the father over there, he's taking a picture and, a video, and hopefully he's going to be passing it around. And here is a fleet captain. Now this is amazing. He has a number of ships under him, but what is giving him joy? Look at the look on his face. Look at the look on the little girl's face. This is Jamaica. She's hugging her stuffed animal. This is the Navy. The military takes this seriously. Look at the smiles, look at the dedication, look at the great number of stuffed animals that they have. This is Major Murphy, Air Force. This is Peru. Kids are dressed up too, and they'll get their stuffed animal and they'll get a hug. This is Lieutenant J.G. Bologna, that's actually her name. You'll notice that the little girl's getting a hug. There's a line of kids behind her. There's another lady here in the background, and she is giving hugs, and there's a line there, and just picture a line of military people lined up like this that are giving stuffed animals hugs. Hope. This is a program that should continue, and it may not. It's important. It blesses kids, and it really uplifts the reputation of the United States through what the military is doing. There's an actual physical hug. And some of these kids, especially boys, I think they need a man once in a while to give the hug. Now, the people stationed within the country, this is a Grassroots United. They're headquartered in the United States, but they have volunteers around the world. Wendy is amazing. She's made friends with the military, but she's also made friends with these people. Here's somebody wearing a Loving Hug shirt. Here's Rotary. She's even got them involved. And there's military, Marine personnel there too. This is a fantastic picture. Look at the look on these little girls' faces. Look at her hands put together with appreciation and joy. And as I said, to a kid that has little or nothing, that means a whole lot. This boy here really is thankful. These are all spontaneous pictures taken by the military, and I feel privileged to be able to have them. Even out in the field, they're taken care of by the military. Now, this picture is my favorite. At the time it was taken, the news was reporting that men were throwing acid in the faces of little girls who were guilty only of trying to go to school. Horrible stuff. But look at these kids. They're all smiling. Have you ever seen an Afghan girl, this is Afghanistan, smiling? They're all smiling, 100%. Here's a man over here on the left, and he's smiling at them, and the two girls closest to him are smiling back. 3 women Marines in the back. This is the way I think the world should be. This is inside the school. Embarrassed, precious, Nashville. Girls. It's beautiful. This is one of the first pictures that was ever taken. This is Iraq. That's where it started. And that's where the bomb blasts were. And after Al-Zawahiri was cleared out by our military, then we went in and made some friends, and stuffed animals were a big part of it. This is Indonesia. And this had another picture taken 15 minutes earlier where these kids were absolutely devastated. It looked like the wave had just gone over them. This happened about a year ago. This is 15 minutes later. You can see hope and awe on their faces. This is a hospital ship. We have several of them traveling around the world. I don't see any reporting of the good that they do. It used to be an oil tanker. They give free operation, surgery, save lives. And afterward, with the stuffed animals, they get a lot of positive support. And when the kids are being operated on, they usually have their stuffed animal right there by their cheek. I have a lot of other pictures for the college that I show later, but I have to make it condensed today. And where do you think this is?
Another photo.
It's on the doorstep of Russia. It's the Ukraine. Smiling American soldiers, sailors, and happy kids. That's an orphanage. Almost all these pictures were taken in orphanages because almost all these kids have their parents killed. This is a picture that somebody said should be in the cover of the New York Times, Newsweek, and Time magazine. Every issue. You can see the condition. You can see the condition of the animal, and you can see the appreciation of the little girl, and the mother. She'll never forget this. So what do we do with stuffed animals that are too small to wrap your arms around? That's what we do with them. And this is the website, lovinghugs.org. Now, I don't want this program to discontinue because she's been supporting it pretty much on her own. She's the only person that's able to have accomplished all of this. Again, I don't know how she did it. I don't know how she does it. People can go and they can make a donation, and that's what she's getting by on. But I would like to be able to get a corporation, some big entity that puts a lot of money into promotion. People spend millions of dollars in promotion. And if maybe 1% of it, a little smidgen of it, could pay for a couple, just two, of part-time people, and maybe some rent on a little room so she doesn't have to move around all the time, this would be tremendous. And so, I would welcome your thoughts and your ideas after this so that we can keep on schedule today. And call me at home if you like, as it says on the paper here. I want ideas. I want to be able to help. And thank you very much.